Welcome to 5 Minutes in the Word, a daily devotional in the Word of God. Today on 5 Minutes in the Word, I want us to turn to James chapter 3, and I want us to talk today about the tongue. So many of us at many times in our life, we've said things we wish we could take back. Said things that maybe we even instantly regretted. Things that were mean, that were cruel, that were evil, sometimes even things that were just not true. So many of us have sinned this way with our mouths, and James chapter 3 is going to help us to see the power of the tongue, and it's also going to give us some caution to take when we are speaking. So James chapter 3, starting there in verse 1, it says, "My brethren, let not many of you become teachers, knowing that we shall receive a stricter judgment." That teachers are held in high regard and should hold themselves into a place that is of respect and be respectable. So when we teach the Word of God is precious, and the Word of God needs to be handled rightly, and not everyone can do that. Not everyone is going to do that. And so we need to understand that our words, they're important, and not everyone's going to be a teacher. And we definitely don't want those that are mishandling the Word of God. We don't want them teaching. And so we need to understand right out of the gate that we need to be careful about the words you say, and especially when we're teaching in regard to the Word of God. For we all stumble in many things. If anyone does not stumble in word, he's a perfect man, able also to bridle the whole body. So we all stumble with so many things. And one of those things, as we're talking about today, is the tongue, is our words that we speak. It says, "Indeed, we put bits in horses' mouths that they may obey us, and we turn their whole body. Also look at ships. Although they are a large force, are driven by fierce winds, they are turned by a very small rudder wherever the pilot desires. Even so the tongue is a little member and boasts great things. See how great a forest a little fire kindles." And so we see these little things among, big old ships, or these little things, among these beasts, these horses, these bits in the horse's mouth, how they can turn such a large force. And the same thing is true with our tongues, that our tongues in a small member, yet it can do so much damage, or it can do so much good too, but it has to be used properly and correctly. It says, "And the tongue is a fire, a world of iniquity. The tongue is set among our members, that it defiles the whole body and sets on fire the course of nature, and is set on fire by hell." We see just how damaging the tongue can be. "For every kind of beast and bird, of reptile and creature of sea is tamed and has been tamed by mankind, but no man can tame the tongue. It is an unruly evil, full of deadly poison." And that's what our words can truly be. Our words can not only be hurtful to this life, but if we're teaching in error, our words can be, words that are leading to eternal death for someone else. So it's very deadly, and we need to be careful about the words that we say. "With it we bless our God and Father, and with it we curse men, who have been made in the similitude of God. Out of the same mouth proceed blessing and cursing. My brethren, these things ought not to be so." And so here we see that so many people, they bless God on one day, or bless God with, one part of their mouth, with another, they're cursing mankind. That is not the way that we as God's people are to be using our mouths, but it is the way that we as humans sometimes we find ourselves in. And we have to be careful of the words we say, and careful of the way that we are living. Because if we're blessing God with one side and then cursing man with another, we're not truly living as the Christian is supposed to live. As the text says, it says, "My brethren, these things ought not to be so." And this is not the way it's supposed to be. And even it gives some examples here. It says, "Does a spring send forth fresh water and bitter from the same opening?" Well, of course not. "Can a fig tree, my brethren, bear olives, or grapevine bear figs? Thus no spring yields both salt water and fresh." So we understand this just from nature itself, that bitter and sweet don't really don't really go together as far as like salt water, fresh water, things like that. I know there's other examples that might do, but like you look at olives and grapes and figs and these things, they're different plants and they're different fruit, and we need to understand that as we look at all this, they're just not the same, and they don't belong together. And that's the same way with us. We don't need to have blessings and cursings. Now, we need to have blessings, but we don't need to have the cursings, and we need to understand this in regard to our mouths. It says, "Who is wise and understanding among you? Let him show by good conduct that his works are done in the meekness of wisdom. But if you have bitter envy and self-seeking in your hearts, do not boast and lie against the truth. This wisdom does not descend from above, but is earthly, sensual, demonic, and from where envy and self-seeking exist, confusion and every evil thing are there. But the wisdom that is from above is first pure, then peaceable, gentle, willing to yield, full of mercy and good fruits, without partiality and without hypocrisy. Now the fruit of righteousness is sown in peace by those who make peace. Now I finished reading this whole chapter because it's really important for us to understand that we are God's people, and as Christians, we're supposed to be out there living a life that is in a representation of Him. We're supposed to be imitating Him in everything we do and say. This peaceful life and this peaceful disposition, this peaceful way of living that we're to be having, it also impacts the things in which we say. It impacts the words we use and the way we handle ourselves and carry ourselves, the way in which we speak to other people. You know, this good, sweet-smelling aroma that we're supposed to be offering up to God, we are to also be spreading out to the world, teaching the gospel of Jesus Christ so they too can hear those good and those pleasant, those wonderful things of God. So let's don't use our mouths for evil. Let's don't let those small members of our body control us to where we're doing all kinds of evil and wicked things. But let's speak the truth. Let's speak rightly. Let's speak of things that are pure. Let's speak of things that are of God. And let's live lives that are before Him every single day.